What if a name is more than just a word? For most people today, a name is simply a way to distinguish one person from another. It's something we use to address someone, a line in passport, a reminder of a family or cultural tradition, rarely anything more. But what if we turn to the ancient world, to ancient Egypt, to India, or even to the tradition of Atlantis? Long ago, names were understood in a contemporarily different way. Across a remarkably different civilization, we find surprisingly similar ideas that a name is connected to the very nature of existence itself. The deeper I studied these traditions, the more convinced I become that we are not dealing with beautiful legends alone. We are looking at an entirely different understanding of reality. So, what is hidden within a name? Let's explore that. Hello everyone, your audacious Spiro is here, and let's begin. It may be difficult to imagine today, but in Atlantis, a name was never seen as merely a way to address someone. It was considered one of the foundations of the universe itself. A name never existed in isolation. It belonged to a much larger cosmological system, connected with the birth of creation itself. According to the teachings of Amantis, the Atlantean civilization, in the beginning there was neither speech nor sound. The first thing to exist was the creator's thought of himself. That thought established the direction of all future creation. As that direction took form, it became the very foundation of existence. For this reason, Atlantean psychological texts rarely separated form from direction. Form was understood as the visible expression of thought's direction, while direction was its inner movement. Thus, order came into being. Yet, remarkably, that alone was still not enough to life. The Atlanteans believed that something could process form and yet remain asleep. Their sacred texts describe a universe that had already been created, but had not yet received the breath of life. Everything existed, yet nothing was aware of its own existence. That distinction was essential. Existence came first, awareness came later. Only then the Creator bestowed upon every being a portion of his own name did the universe begin to resonate. Not only did everything receive the name, every action performed by every being also received one. This moment was regarded as the true awakening of the cosmos. The name was called the breath of life, not because it created form, but because it awakened form to the awareness of itself. The idea is strikingly similar to the birth of a human being. A child's body develops long before birth. Its heart begins beating while still in the womb. Yet, independent life begins only with the first breath. For this reason, Amantis associated breath not with the creation of the body, but with the awakening of spirit. The universe, too, first received form, and only after found its own voice. From this idea grew the entire culture of names. In Atlantis, names belonged not only to people. Stars had names, mountains had names, spirit had names. The human soul had a name. Even the very essence of every being possessed one. A name was understood as the unique resonance of the Creator's thought, made manifest within creation. Every being resonated differently, yet all these countless resonances were merely fragments of the Creator's single, eternal name. The universe itself was therefore perceived as one great melody, where every being contributes its own voice. Together those voices form the name of the Creator. If the entire cosmos was understood as the Creator's name, then a person's name could never be arbitrary. For the Atlanteans, it did far more than distinguish one individual from another. A name helped reveal the direction that already existed within a person's life. This is why children were given names with great care. People believed that the sound of a name could strengthen the path the soul had brought into the world, or gradually reshape the way that path was expressed. Over time, the naming tradition became so sophisticated that a person's name revealed more than clothing or manner of speech ever could. A name spoke of ancestry, of belonging to a particular lineage. Sometimes one of the great houses, sometimes of a family's place within society. The highest aristocracy followed naming traditions of its own. Names such as Meritaser, Tershesser, or Asaris immediately signaled membership in a particular culture milieu. No law forbade members of other social classes from using such names, yet society regarded it with considerable disapproval. Such a choice could invite ridicule, hinder one's career, or quietly close the door to certain privileges. Gradually, a name became one of the civilization's most important social codes. Even shortened form of names carried meaning. Today, we rarely think about using nicknames among friends. Atlantis viewed the matter quite differently. A shortened name indicated a special degree of trust. Using it for someone you hardly knew suggested an attempt to shorten a distance that had not yet been crossed. It could easily be interpreted as undue familiarity or even disrespect, not because any strict prohibition existed, but because a name was still regarded as part of the person's inner world. Interestingly, the same name could sound different depending on social background. Take the name Assay, one of the first comers, founder of the sixth great house. Among the middle class, the same name was often pronounced Array. Its meaning remained unchanged, only its sound shifted along with the culture that spoke it. The closest modern comparison would probably be European languages. The name Jonas, for example, becomes John, Yen, and Giovanni. The identity remains the same, only its cultural expressions change. The same principle appeared to the different forms of Array's name. For the Atlanteans, such differences were never accidental. They reflected not only linguistic development, but also a person's place within society. Because a name was linked to the resonance of the Creator's thought, receiving a new name meaning changing the way person manifested within the structure of existence itself. If one's place within the structure changed, so too did one's resonance. This idea extended even to the soul. The Atlanteans believed that as the soul passed from one's life into another, it's preserved its inner essence while receiving a new earthly resonance, a new name, once appropriate to its new place in the Creator's ongoing process of coming to know Himself. Perhaps most fascinating of all is that similar ideas about names appeared in other ancient civilizations. In ancient Egypt, the Ren, or name, was regarded as one of essential components of a person's being. As long as someone's name continued to be spoken, they retained their place among both the living and the dead. That is why names were so carefully carved into temples and tombs. To erase a name was seen as an attempt to deny someone eternity. Within the Hindu tradition, names are likewise connected with a person's life journey. The namakarana ceremony is far more than simply naming a child. The name becomes part of the person's spiritual story. Indian philosophy also preserves the concept of nāma-rūpa, name and form. According to this idea, everything that manifests in the world exists as a unity of name and form. These traditions were almost certainly not historically connected, yet the resemblance between their philosophical regions is genuinely remarkable. So, what is contained within a name? Every civilization answered this question differently. Some saw names as labels, mere conventions of language. Others saw them as moments of awakening, the breath of life itself. And suddenly question what is in the name begins to sound very different. For the ancient world, a name was never just a random collection of sounds. It was the first breath of form, the first manifestation of consciousness. And if the entire universe was understood as the Creator's single name, then every human name became one line within the endless song. Perhaps that is why ancient civilization treated names with such reverence. They didn't hear merely the designation of a person. They heard the universe speaking itself.